The Menendez case is not remembered because of how violent it was. It's remembered because no one could ever agree on what it actually meant. Two parents were shot to death inside their own home. The crime scene was brutal, direct, and impossible to ignore, and the people who admitted to pulling the trigger were their own sons. From the beginning, this story refused to fit neatly into one category. It wasn't just a murder case. It became a national argument. When police arrived at the Menendez house, the scene felt wrong. José and Kitty Menendez were dead in the living room. They had been shot multiple times with a shotgun at close range. The violence was intense. The house itself showed no signs of a breakdash and no broken windows, no forced doors. Nothing appeared to be stolen. It looked like a targeted attack, not a robbery gone wrong. Lyle and Erik Menendez told police. They had gone out earlier and returned home to discover the bodies. They were emotional. They were crying. They sounded exactly like two sons in shock. At first, investigators had no reason to doubt them. José Menendez was known as a strict, controlling man. He was wealthy, successful, and deeply focused on status. He demanded discipline, achievement, and respect. To colleagues, he was intense but impressive. At home, that intensity never turned off. Kitty Menendez was more difficult for people to understand. She was often described as withdrawn, emotionally distant, struggling with depression and substance issues. From the outside, the family appeared privileged. Expensive homes, elite schools, kind of life people assume is free from serious problems. But appearances only tell part of the story. In the weeks following the murders, people began to notice something uncomfortable. Lyle and Erik didn't grieve the way the public expected them to. They spent money, a lot of it. Luxury cars, designer clothes, trips, and expensive habits. To some observers, it looked like celebration. To others, it looked like young men who had lost all structure overnight. Still, police attention slowly intensified. The case took a dramatic turn when Erik began seeing a therapist. During one of those sessions, Erik admitted that he and his brother had killed their parents. That confession did not stay private. Soon, law enforcement was aware. When confronted, brothers did not deny their actions. They admitted to the killings, but they claimed the story was far more complicated than simple murder. According to Lyle and Erik, they had grown up in fear. They accused their father of long-term physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. They claimed the abuse started when they were young and continued. For years, they said their mother knew, and that she either ignored it or enabled it. According to the brothers, the night of the killings was driven by panic. They believed their parents were going to kill them to keep the abuse secret, so they acted first. This explanation shocked the public, not just because of the allegations, but because of who those allegations were coming from. The trial became a media spectacle. Television cameras, daily coverage, endless commentary. But inside the courtroom, the tone was far from dramatic. Testimony was long, detailed, and deeply uncomfortable. Psychologists explained trauma. Family members described disturbing behavior. Friends recalled moments that suddenly seemed suspicious. The defense painted a picture of two deeply damaged young men raised in a house, ruled by fear and control. The prosecution painted a different picture. They argued the murders were calculated, planned, motivated by money and freedom. Two sides. Two completely different interpretations of the same events. Public opinion split almost immediately. Some people believed the brothers without hesitation. They saw their emotional breakdowns as genuine. They believed abuse could exist behind wealth and power. Others were unconvinced. They pointed to the spending, the lack of immediate fear after the murders, the way the killings were carried out. There was no consensus, and that division only grew stronger as the trial continued. When the first trial ended, there was no clear resolution. The jury could not agree. For many people watching, that outcome made sense. The case was emotionally heavy. The evidence was complex. The motivations were unclear, but the story wasn't over by the time the second trial began. The atmosphere had shifted. There was less focus on abuse, less room for emotional testimony. The legal strategy changed. This time, the jury was asked to focus on responsibility, not explanation. The question became simpler. Did Lyle and Erik Menendez intentionally kill their parents? The answer, legally, was yes. Both brothers were convicted of murder. They were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Since then, Menendez brothers have remained behind bars, but the case has never truly faded. Documentaries continue to revisit it. Podcasts re-examine the evidence. New generations discover the story for the first time. With distance, opinions continue to shift. Some now view the brothers with more sympathy. Others remain convinced the verdict was correct. The argument never really ends. What makes the Menendez case so unsettling is that it refuses to give us a clear villain. If the brothers were abused, then the crime becomes harder to process. If the abuse was exaggerated or false, then the killings feel cold and calculated. Either way, 2 people are dead, and to others will spend the rest of their lives in prison. This case forces an uncomfortable question. Can someone be both a victim and a killer? And if so, how does the justice system respond to that? There are no easy answers here, no clean ending, just a family that completely destroyed itself in a way that still makes people argue decades later. The Menendez brothers didn't just kill their parents. They created a story that society still can't agree on how to tell, and that might be the most disturbing part. This is something so weird, where real stories don't come with simple conclusions.